Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Omnivorous Bookworm. My name is Lauren, and today I wanted to do the anti-TBR tag. I'm going to link the original by Nicole down below, and I've been seeing this for, I don't know when it was made, but I've been seeing it for a few months, and every time I see it, I always get ideas, and then I chicken out because I'm like, I don't know, because it's hard for me. I mean, there's lots of books I haven't read, but it's hard for me to be like, no, I don't want to read that. But the more I thought about it, yeah, there were books that I didn't want to read. So it goes without saying that if you like any of these books, or if you think I would like any of these books, I'm not insulting you or the book or the author. It's just my impressions of these books. Well, sometimes I don't like the author, but I will talk about that when it happens. But for the most part, it's, yeah. If you think I would like it and you think I should change my mind, try to. I will be interested to hear it. Okay, so we have eight questions. The first one is a popular book everyone loves that you have no interest in reading. This one was really hard for me because I feel like there's a lot of popular books that some people really love and some people really hate. But as far as like books that everybody loves, so I ended up picking The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. Not because I don't think it's a good book, but I haven't really even watched the show or anything, and I've just picked up so much about the book, like from the zeitgeist of like what happens in the book, um, and I kind of know like what's gonna like what's happening, and it's pretty dark and pretty intense, and like I'm sure it's well written and everything. I just don't have any desire to inflict that on myself. So, and it's pretty long too, because I read like the Parable of the Sower and the Parable of the Talents by Octavia Butler, but those books weren't super long, and there was a lot in them that I didn't know about. Whereas with The Handmaid's Tale, I feel like it's pretty brutal. I kind of know like what's gonna happen, and it's pretty long. So yeah, I don't have any interest in that. Number two, a classic book or author you don't have an interest in reading. So I did a book and author. So for the book, I have Moby Dick by Herman Melville. Everything I've heard about it, I feel like a lot of people read it to like say that they've read it because it is such a like difficult book to get through and super long, and there's nothing about it that seems like there's so many classics that I want to read that I haven't. I don't feel any need to read that. And then for authors that I don't want to read, um, is H.P. Lovecraft and Rudyard I can't talk Kipling. Yeah, because they were really racist and not nice people. So yeah. Number three, an author whose books you have no interest in reading. So this is one that, like, if you like these authors, like, great. If you think I would like them, try to tell me. But just from what I've heard about the authors, like their writing, not them personally, would be Sarah J. Maas and Jennifer Weiner. Just because when I see, like, I saw Jennifer Weiner's books, and a lot of her books seem very much with like rich people and like people in uh, like acting, and I'm not a fan of those kind of books. Like they're fine, but like yeah, it's not my favorite. And then with Sarah J. Maas, I feel like a lot of the things that people really like about her are a lot of the things that I don't care as much about in my fantasy, or it's like not my favorite part of the fantasy. And then at this point, there's been like so many books written that like I would have to read like a lot to get to where people are now, and I just don't. I feel kind of the same way about Wheel of Time. Like I appreciate why people enjoy it, but I'm like I would just be opening up this huge box, and I would have to read so much stuff to even get to the point where I could talk to people about like where they're at now, that it's, to me, it's just not something that I have an interest in doing. Okay, number 3.2. A problematic author whose books you have no interest in reading. So this one is Emily A. Duncan. I hadn't even heard about her books or her. I I feel like I'm out of the loop most of the time, but like I hadn't really heard about her books. Maybe I had, I just didn't register with me. And then I just heard of, like, that she'd been really nasty to like South Asian authors and was bullying and had like anti-Semitic things in her books, and her books didn't necessarily seem like something I would be interested in anyway. So it's like if the first thing I hear about is like how rude an author is, like there's, or not even rude, like that would be an understatement in this case. But yeah, if the first my introduction to the author is like them being not a good person, then like there's so many books that I would already want to read. It's like, okay, I don't have to worry about reading that book. So yeah, that's the author. Number 4, an author you have read a couple of books from and have decided their books are not for you. So this author, I don't think they're a bad author at all. I know a lot of people really enjoy her, but her style and some of the stuff that she writes about is just not as interesting to me, and that's Isabel Allende. Like, I think I read her a long time ago, back when like Oprah's book club was like the big thing, and my mom was like, you need to read this. And my biological mom. And so I was like, okay. And then I read it and I'm like, I don't know if I like that. And then, but I was still at the age where I thought there was like good books and bad books, and I didn't really understand like a book can be good, and like people just have different tastes of what they like. And so I read a couple other books by her, and she has a lot of like purple prose in my opinion, and I do enjoy historical fiction, but there's a lot of writers who I kind of just get into it more than with her, and it's nothing against her or her books. It's just like a matter, like in that case I feel like it's purely a matter of taste, and at that point it's like, well, if it's just not something I like, and like she's not going to change her writing style, and I'm not going to change my preference. It's just one of those things, you know? It's like agree to like go your separate ways. All right, no, 5. A genre you have no interest in, or a genre you tried to get into and couldn't. So this one was really hard for me because I feel like I'm the omnivorous bookworm. I'm a firm believer that like it's not the genre. Like you can find a book in any genre that you like, but I will say in my experience and opinion, I don't tend to gravitate towards, and I have never really enjoyed a grim dark fantasy. Um, like I don't mind fantasies that have like dark aspects to them, but I don't know. I like to read to sort of escape from the world, or to kind of learn something, or to improve myself, hopefully. So I don't usually like. I feel like the world is bad enough, so like that's why I like cozy mysteries, and I don't need like reminder how horrible the world is all the time. So it's just not a genre that, like, I appreciate why people like it, but it's just not a genre that I'm gonna tend to gravitate towards. But it doesn't mean that I wouldn't like anything in that genre. Like, I might. Okay, the next one, number 6. A book you have bought but will never read. This can be a book you have unhauled, returned to the library unread. So this is a book that I borrowed from Kindle Unlimited. I think a couple times, and I kind of got a feeling about it, and then I started doing research, and I was like, no, no, no. So it was the Murmur of Bees by was it Sofia Segovia, and I originally got it because it was written. Uh, it's written about a Mexican family during the revolution, and it seemed really interesting to me. But then I sort of got this feeling about the author, like, or about the book, kind of. And I started looking into it, and I saw that, like, she's very white, which is fine. There's no, I'm white. There's that. But she's from, like, a place in, like, I could tell the university she went to, especially going there for journalism, that she came from, like, pretty wealthy family. And then her book was writing about, like, poor people during the revolution. And I was like, oh, I'm starting to get a bad feeling about this. And so I started reading reviews about it. And, like, the book has a lot of aspects, like the magical indigenous person. But the main thing, like, and also somebody who has a disability who's, like, somehow magical with bees. And, like, those aren't tropes that I really want. That we don't need those anymore. And then also, uh, she's talking about Mexico, like, pre-revolution and kind of during the revolution, from my understanding. And, like, during that time, a lot of people who were poor, especially indigenous people, were really exploited, and it was just really horrible, and it was just not a good time. And but from some of the reviews that I read, and kind of looking at the book a little bit, I realized that it was sort of like celebrating the good old days, and I'm like, oh, no, 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 I'm not gonna do that. So that is a book and an author that I don't have any interest in that. Okay, number 7, a series you have no interest in reading, or a series you started and have DNF'd. So I guess Harry Potter. I didn't finish Harry Potter. Um, and I feel like it's too late now. What's the point now? um, I already mentioned Wheel of Time. I kind of feel that way, but it's more because it's, like, just too much at this point. And the one that's really popular right now, and I just don't have any interest in, is Bridgerton. I understand why people like it, and I'm not gonna, try to shame anybody. Or it's just not. It's just I just don't have any. It's just I don't have any interest in it. It's not something that I look at. I'm like, oh, I want to read that. I mean, I have nothing against it. Just, if you like it, enjoy it. Like, that's how I feel about it. And the last one is a new release you have no interest in reading. And that one was Leaving Isn't the Hardest Thing by Lauren Huff. Again, an author that had a bunch of drama. And maybe if it had been a fictional book, I would have been able to overlook more of the things. But since it's a memoir, and like I said, there's just so many things out there to read. Once an author sort of sticks their neck out in not a very nice way, it doesn't entice me to read their books. So, plus she gave Lawrence a bad name, and I just took that personally. I'm like, you're dragging the good name of Lauren in the mud. As a fellow Lauren, I'm like, no, come on. So anyway, those are my anti-TBR questions. Let me know down below if you have done this prompt, or if you have a video of it. Feel free to link your video down below. I would love to see it if I haven't seen it already. So yeah, don't be afraid to self-promote, because I'm a brand new channel, and, like, you're just promoting to me mostly. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Like I said, every new subscriber means a lot to me because I'm brand new. And I will see you next time. Bye-bye.